Hi friends, welcome to this latest episode of the Nationalist View, and today we have with us a very special guest, Mr. Qambar Malik Baloch. Qambar Saab, thank you so much for taking time out from your busy schedule and joining us.
Thank you very much for having me, Mr. Arun.
Qambar Malik Baloch, I'll just give a brief description. A brief introduction. He is the General Secretary of the Baloch Advocacy and Studies Center in United Kingdom. He also founded the Baloch Students Action Committee and became its first chairperson. Over the years, Baloch Students Action Committee has grown into one of Balochistan's most influential student organizations. And today we are going to talk about the state of affairs in Balochistan, and will also take a few questions in terms of going a little bit deeper into it, and have Qamar Malik Baloch Saab's perspective on it. So, sir, my first question is that Operation Herof 2.0, which recently took place, and probably which is, you can tell us whether it is still going on. So Operation Herof 2.0 is being described as a turning point in the Baloch insurgency by many commentators and analysts. So, how do you look at it in terms of, is this phase different from the earlier BLA operations, Baloch Liberation Army's operations? And does it reflect deeper political and social shifts inside Baloch society, especially given the fact that so many Baloch women fighters have participated in this and sacrificed their lives?
Right. So let us look back at the early 2000s when the Baloch Liberation Army initially started its visible operations in Balochistan. These operations were limited to very few of the districts in Balochistan, particularly the capital city of Quetta and the Kolu district. In later years, these operations expanded to the adjacent districts of Quetta, to the districts in central and southwestern Balochistan. And so did their introduction from limited political circles to the common Baloch people. When we reflect on the 25 years of BLA, or so to say, another major armed resistance front, the Baloch Liberation Front's operations, we see that particularly the BLA, they were targeting the military and government installments and military personals and their auxiliary organizations involved in the extrajudicial killings and enforced disappearances of the Baloch people. In these, sometimes they were, killed, they lost their lives in these operations, and also the military, along with its auxiliary organizations, managed to target the cadre and leaders, many of BLS leaders. And we saw that eventually the Pakistani authorities started making claims that they have crushed the Baloch armed resistance movement in Balochistan, and they have confined their operations in the mountains of Balochistan. But in fact, the BLA was reorganizing itself and strengthening its roots within the Baloch society, expanding its geographic reach, as well as improving on its developing areas. And with these recent offensives, as you referred to as Operation Herof 2, the BLA demonstrated that it is capable of carrying out sophisticated, coordinated, and large-scale operations across Balochistan. And a few of the significant points that stand out when we assess Operation Herof 2 is that whenever the Baloch armed resistance movement has been discussed, it has been referred to as a low-level insurgency. BLA, through its offensives, reasserted that it is no longer a low-level armed resistance movement. Rather, it has evolved into a high level and intensified armed resistance movement, equivalent to a war of national liberation movement. And we saw that it was able to attract women and elderly to its ranks, which reflects that you can only do that when you have a strong support base within the society. They were able to, convey to the Pakistani authorities, who were quite comfortable in their convictions of all is well in Balochistan, that the BLA, if it wants, it can strike in the heart of the capital city. And moreover, another important thing that I observed is that during these offensives, the BLA fighters were engaging with the common public. It just reminds one of the anti-colonial armed resistance movements for the national liberation in the past, that how the fighters of armed resistance movements were engaging with the public to generate legitimacy and to create moral economy and to reassure the common people who actually see the Pakistani military and its auxiliary organizations not as protectors, but as oppressors. And BLA managed to convey that when you are being terrorized by a military, when you or your children or your parents or your siblings are being abducted and killed by the military, then you have the BLA. That is your protector. And as per the information or as per the videos that were circulating on the social media, it is quite clear that BLA as efforts were well received by the Baloch people, and it indicates that they will get more recruits in the future.
So, how has Pakistan's security-centric approach in Balochistan shaped the present cycle of insurgency, and counter-insurgency?
Right. So the violence itself in Balochistan is the result or consequences of Pakistan's oppressive policies and actions of over 7 decades in Balochistan. The military, we have to slightly understand that the major ethnic group in Pakistan, that is the Punjabis, they form the backbone of the Pakistani military and almost all of its governing organs of the state. They, in order to maintain their political and economic supremacy, have always exploited and oppressed the other nationalities, particularly the Baloch in Pakistan. And instead of engaging with the Baloch politically, the military has always resorted to violence in response to the Baloch people's demands for their rights or to exercise their right to self-determination. And we see that in Pakistan, the Baloch people's ability to engage with the state's political and legal processes has been compromised. For instance, if we talk about the political process, the Baloch are not able to elect their legitimate or genuine representative in the legislative bodies. Instead, the military installs its own nurtured agents in the public offices who eventually represent the interest of those who have installed them in those positions rather than the interest of the public. And secondly, all the political and peaceful means have been curbed. One of the largest human rights movement, the Baloch Students Committee, who wanted to engage with the state, to protect the rights of the Baloch people. The majority of their leadership has been imprisoned on fabricated charges, and the rest of its leadership is being pursued by the Pakistani authorities. So when a people like the Baloch find themselves in a situation without political or legal process to remedy the violations of their rights and dignity, then they eventually resort to violence. So such a violence, as Pakistan conveniently brands it as terrorism, it should uh, be seen. The causes of violence must be understood. And when we look at such conditions created by the state, then you eventually realize that the actual terrorism is when the state creates certain conditions that gives birth to and perpetuates violence. And the second part of your question about the counterinsurgency, the Pakistan has not learned a lesson from its actions or its failed policies in Balochistan. Even following these offensives by the BLA across Balochistan, the chief minister of Balochistan publicly threatened the family members of those individuals involved in the armed resistance movement that he will not let them live a normal life. And the same sort of comments were uh, made by one of the ministers in Punjab, that those supporting the armed resistance movement have exhausted their human rights. So when a state resorts to collective punishment of the people, it indicates that the state actually and its narrative has failed. It has lost it to the Baloch armed resistance movement. So now it wants to punish the common people for supporting and for accepting and respecting the Baloch armed resistance movement.
Qambar Sahab, enforced disappearances is one of the biggest issues in Balochistan. Uh, the kill and dump squads of Pakistan military establishment. So it, kidnaps, tortures, and it's a well-known fact that, and then, it dumps the bodies of the common Baloch people. And it cuts across, gender, age, socio-economic classes. And a lot of conversations have happened around that in Balochistan and sometimes a little bit in South Asia also. But why this issue has, how big is this issue, and why this issue has failed to draw the desirable attention from the international community? How do you look at the international community not responding with the same kind of heft with which it should have responded?
Right. So, it takes us to the very unfortunate truth or reality of how the international community works, is that when states or members of the international community pursue their economic or political interests, they always look down to the human rights of the people. So, human rights always become the first casualty. And certainly the Baloch are not exempted of it. But then again, in such a situation, what else can the Baloch do is except for continue to highlighting the human rights challenges that its people face in Balochistan and look for friends and the different organizations who champion the human rights uh, and request their intervention to push Pakistan to stop its human rights violations in Balochistan.
So, China also has a huge presence in Balochistan. And so, to what extent are projects like the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor driving local resentment? And is Operation Herof 2.0 partly a response to these strategic developments?
Right. So to understand China's role in the exploitation of the natural resources of Balochistan and the Baloch people's response to it, uh, we have to understand that Balochistan is home to various types of metallic and non-metallic resources. And according to the Mines and Mineral Department of the government of Balochistan, 39 of the 50 discovered metallic and non-metallic minerals are currently being exploited. And these minerals include lead, zinc, gold, copper, chromite, iron, marble, gypsum, and many others. Now, do you know who is the largest importer of all of these minerals that I just mentioned? It's China. So the history of Pakistan, the China's Pakistan nexus in exploiting the natural resources of Balochistan predates the introduction of China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. Now, China and Pakistan have made millions of dollars out of the what the Baloch people call as their national wealth. But you will not be able to find any records within the government of Balochistan or in public that how these profits or the shares that the government of Balochistan has received from those resources has been used to uplift the living conditions of the people. Unfortunately, the living conditions of the people has deteriorated over the years. And two of the major projects, one is Dudar mining project, extracting lead and zinc in Balochistan, and the other is called Sandak project, extracting copper and gold. And both of them are being run by Chinese companies. And for the last at least Sandak is operational for the last 2 decades, and Dudar for the last 1 decade. And so the people already consider China as a partner in the exploitation of their natural resources. So when we talk about China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, I mean, let's not dwell into the details of CPECs or China's covert military or strategic agenda that it wants to pursue under the guise of in the guise of China-Pakistan Economic Corridor or development. Just let's only consider its economic aspect, as it was claimed that it will uplift the economy of Balochistan. The only thing that the Baloch people saw with the introduction of CPEC was the increased presence of military in Balochistan, and many of the villages falling en route to CPEC projects were uprooted. And Gwadar, that the CPEC calls its crown jewel, is a traditionally fishing village or a town. And the people rely on fishing to meet their ends. What CPEC did was it actually barred the local fishermen from fishing from their traditional fishing pots, and let alone the Chinese trawlers also depleting the fish of the Baloch Sea. So this two of the important things that we need to understand is that just according to very recent survey by Pakistan Population Council in November 2025, according to its findings, 17 of the least 20 out of 17 out of 20 least developed districts of Pakistan are located in Balochistan. And none of the districts of Balochistan is included in the top 14 most developed districts of Pakistan. And another aspect of this resource exploitation that the Pakistani authorities or its analysts failed to mention is that all of these resources, metallic and non-metallic, they have a life expectancy. They are non-renewable energies or resources, non-renewable resources. So imagine in the coming 2 or 3 decades, all of these resources that the Baloch consider as their national wealth will be depleted. So the Baloch will have nothing to avail from. And this creates a sense of urgency for the Baloch to defend its natural resources. And this is the reason the BLA's operations are being seen by the Baloch as uh, the BLA itself is being seen as the defender of the Baloch land and its resources. And the Baloch are conveying a clear message that none of the projects without the consent or without guarantees of protecting or the rights of the Baloch people would be accepted.
So, sir, my last question is, that uh, just like now when Operation Herof 2.0 happened, Pakistan blamed, external actors. It always puts the blame on India, but will not bring in right now India into this whole conversation. That needs another conversation, but that's a fact that it blames sometimes, Afghanistan. It also blames sometimes, Iran. Then it blames, India also. So Pakistan has the tendency of blaming, external actors for the insurgency or from the armed struggle, liberation struggle, which is happening in Balochistan. So, in your view, how much of this conflict is internally driven? And is there any outside external support? Do you see any realistic political solution ahead? Or do you see a more prolonged, phase of violence ahead? Or a more prolonged phase of armed struggle ahead?
All right, so I will break down your question into at least 2 parts. Yes, I agree that there is a tendency among the Pakistani authorities to frame discussions of Baloch nationalism within the narrow confines of Pakistan's hostile relation with its neighboring countries. And it always looks for external actors to blame for its domestic mess. And the Baloch believe that Pakistan does that not only for the public consumption of the people in other parts of Pakistan or to the outside world. Uh, that is done to challenge the legitimacy of the Baloch national struggle in Pakistan and also to distort the organic character of the Baloch national struggle. Uh, it must be understood and noted that Baloch nationalism actually predates Pakistan's existence. That aspired to become a respected member of the international community. And these aspirations are, in fact, guided by the historical facts that Baloch from the medieval period until the British advent in Balochistan in the early 19th century enjoyed varying degrees of autonomy in the territories they inhabited. And even the British initially acknowledged or recognized the internal autonomy of Balochistan, as it was called Khanate of Kalat at that time. But through various treaty agreements, it converted Balochistan into more of a dominion. And though it promised that it will give back Balochistan's autonomy once it leaves the subcontinent. So as it was, the British was preparing to leave the subcontinent, the Baloch people were asserting for their autonomy and were making use of all the available diplomatic and legal channels available at that time. But they realized that they had been betrayed by the British, who favored Pakistan. And in the manner in which Balochistan was incorporated into Pakistan against the villain decision of the Baloch has remained as a dark episode in the collective memory of the Baloch. So, while Pakistan, instead of mitigating those grievances or accommodating the Baloch, relied on its exploitative and oppressive policies. So the Baloch, some of the Baloch leaders, even when they saw that they do not have any external support, decided to engage in the political framework of Pakistan. But they ended up in dismay that this state is not a, state or in the current framework of Pakistan, the identity and existence of Baloch is not safe. So this is the reason the Baloch nationalism has strengthened, and Pakistan tries to distort its organic character. So as I discussed, and it blames the external actors, but it does not uh, either does not know or it does not teach its people the actual history of Baloch nationalism. And so the coming to the second part of your question, whether there is a solution of the current conflict. So I think given the protracted nature of the Baloch conflict with Pakistan, when we look at its history and its current phase, we see a people who are very resilient, and who are not willing to give up on their demands to exercise their right to self-determination. And on the other hand, we see Pakistani military and its agents installed in Balochistan to do their dirty job. Why would they show some sanity or revisit their short-sighted policies when they are benefiting so much from their exploitative policies in Balochistan, making a huge fortune for themselves? So I think we will see more bloodshed in the future. And unless the uh, members or the responsible members of the international community come forward and uh, push for, take on board the Baloch stakeholders and push for peacemaking or peace building, uh, uh, and also involve the United Nations to look for a peaceful resolution of the conflict.
Thank you, Mr. Qambar Malik Baloch, for sharing these deep insights. We hope to have you soon back on our podcast again, because Balochistan is not only a developing story, but it's paradoxically, a very brave struggle for liberation by a very brave community. But on the other hand, it is also a very tragic story which is unfolding with the large amount of bloodshed, basically largely where common Baloch people are basically, being targeted by the Pakistani military establishment as the international community looks away. So we hope to, continue a track of this story and also get your insights so that, our viewers can understand that what exactly is the story of Balochistan, and what is the story behind, and what are the development, what is the implications of the developments which are taking place in Balochistan. So thank you so much once again for taking time out from your busy schedule and joining us. And thank you, viewers, for watching. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Arun. Thank you.